Yes, we're on. Very good.
Wait, Charles.
Yep, we're on.
We're live, Charles.
Yep, I think so. Yes,
We're
we're
live.
on. Okay.
Aloha Friday, everybody.
Yes, everybody. Aloha Sunday to you today. Now, today is Saturday, the 13th of June. Welcome to Mel and Charlie live here on Facebook. We're coming to you from the beautiful island of Kauai. How you doing, brother Mel?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Looking forward to tonight's show. Um, yeah, man, exciting guest tonight,
Wow.
Angela Kane from the Hawaii Kapu Quarantine Busters, that group
Breakers,
that we
breakers.
started. Breakers. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
breakers. Yeah, breakers.
Yeah,
Hey,
sorry.
guess what happened, brother? Guess what happened?
What happened?
Right now on Facebook, first time, we have a total of 135 people on right now. Say, look,
What you
you
looking
see, I'm
at? No.
alive tonight. 135.
Rolling all the way from Houston, Texas. Jeez, Louise. 135. Is that what you got on your counter?
Now they got 35.
Yeah, I know. We get the same thing. And everybody else can see that too. Yeah, we get people from Houston, Texas. My God, Houston, Texas is 5 hours ahead. It's 11:49 in Houston, Texas. Unbelievable. Mahalo for joining us from Texas. You
Yes.
know, a lot of people from across the country that come on this thing, and I think tonight we'll get a bunch of people. I think all of the Hawaii Kapu Quarantine Breakers will be on. Big Island, Marlies is from the Big Island, awesome,
Yes.
and a bunch of people from Kauai as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think tonight gonna be exciting. You know, the Big Island police arrested 21 cult members on the Big Island. And it's not just I mean, did you see this guy's videos on
Yeah.
YouTube? This guy
Yeah.
is a jackass. I mean, this guy is bad news. He's bad news, and he's decided that he's gonna make the Big Island his home, his cult's home. And this guy's been kicked out of other countries, South African countries. He's been kicked out because of his behavior with young children and sexual offenses. So this guy is not a good guy, and his followers. I mean, some of them look afraid. You know, in fact, one of them left with a bunch of kids today. Do you think
Does
the
it
cult
does
has
it seem
anything to do with the? Huh?
does it appear that his behavior is similar to David Koresh and the
I
Davidian compound?
I think they all come under that same power trip. You know, I mean, they control people, right? They brainwash people. They control them. They no different than the Valos and Daybells that were here not long ago. That they just found the kids
Well,
in Idaho.
a good friend of mine was both he and I were police recruits together. And I remember we had just finished doing our 4 mile run and steps out and we put on our regular clothes, we gotta go back to class, right? And I see these scars and I said, wow, and I said, hey, you okay? He was part of the Jonestown. He tried to escape and his wife and two children were murdered. And so he and I got to talk in depth, like what does it take? He says, when it happens, when you're most vulnerable, when you're at your lowest point, someone like that will come and lift you up and you think that they're everything. They know exactly how to work into your psyche. And for me, it was hard to understand because I said, hey, I never will let myself fall to somebody like that. But you know what? People unfortunately get caught up with it, and it's not no fault of their own. It's just they're at a very vulnerable time when it happened.
Yeah, and these
I
guys are
was,
good.
yeah,
They're good at
yeah,
what they do.
yep,
They're really good. And somebody asked about if this cult is related to the missing kids on a Big Island. I know there's been a lot of publicity, a
oh
lot of
yeah,
posting about the missing children, but
yeah,
majority of those, and I didn't go check every single case, but I did watch the news last night. They said that the majority of those cases were runaways, were were kids that just didn't, for whatever reason, wanted to run away. But these are the types of these cults. That's what they target. They'll target those kids that are running away. And I don't know. I'm hoping anyway that the law enforcement will be using all of the resources to track all of these people, find out where they've been, and I gotta believe they will. I think I cannot imagine it's gonna be happy with prosecuting them for violating our quarantine. So I just we were hoping that Big Island Police and even the FBI, because these people have ties in other countries. Hopefully the FBI will lend a hand. But bottom line is that this. Remember, we are the safest place in the world right now. I mean, Hawaii. I'm talking about Hawaii, and the more and more we publicize that, the more and more we talk about it, more and more people are going to want to come here. We'll talk to Angela tonight because she has a lot of information on all of the people that's been violating throughout the state. But we know. Just I told you earlier today, Charlie, about the guy, the Uber driver that dropped off the carload of visitors at the parking lot at Kukui Grove.
Well, there was a secondary photo, another story not related. I don't know if you saw it. Same looking car, no, not sure. And the person coming from the car looks like, but he's from the turning sideways. The picture we saw from the one by in the Uber car was a very tall Caucasian woman with about the same height male that was on the rear driver's side door. So, I'm just baffled. I kind of wish the person got the license plate number. Would have been good.
Yeah, and again, the post I saw was someone that was told by his friend that took the picture. Right. People. You see a violation, and I've said this enough times. Don't post it on Facebook until you call the police. Call the police first. Facebook don't give a squat about. Facebook's not the enforcement agency, so to post a violation does nobody any good. You get people all riled up, but call the police on whatever island you're at. Call the police, make the report, then have a field day with the posts on Facebook and on the quarantine breakers and all that. But if we're not informing the police, and this goes out, this message, what I'm about to say, goes out to all the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and all of that. You clowns, if you guys are out there to make that extra few bucks to go take violators to a rental car, you made arrangements with, that's what this appears to be. Knock it off. We all complaining. We got to do our part. Each and every single one of us got to do our part, which means following the rules. We got to follow the rules, and we cannot be doing that kinds of nonsense. If you're an Uber driver, airport to the hotel, to the accommodation location. That's it. This is the kinds of things that's gonna kill people. I don't think people have gotten so complacent now with the numbers increasing. 15 yesterday, 17 today. People again like, holy shit, it's time to get serious again. Yeah, we need to get serious because the number is not gonna stop. I mean, the numbers are gonna continue.
Did you see the guy in Seattle? Did you see? They had a write up today. The gentleman from Seattle. 62 days he survived COVID. 62.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what his hospital bill was? $1,122,000. He said that nearly killed him.
181 pages long, the bill.
Yep.
181 pages long.
Yep.
And again, that's the secondary effect. You make it through ventilators and all that, then you go home and you got to deal with the bill. And even if you get medical, your copay, what's your copay? 20% of $1 million. $200,000. Yeah. Well, I don't have that. So again, we got to think of this long term. I mean, not just for yourself. I know it's difficult right now because we know a lot of friends, a lot of families are suffering because they cannot go back to work and all of that. But Charlie, as you know personally, the impact of this virus, and not just once, but more than once. And so we all gotta, if you're an Uber driver, if you know an Uber driver, you make sure you guys not doing that kind of stuff.
I got a call today from a friend of mine on Oahu, and the mom lives here. I want to tell you this story. So he asked me, he says, Charlie, I really need your help. I go, what's up? He goes, an ex-employee, okay, my friend's boss is retiring today. So everybody came in to wish him good luck. An ex-employee now comes to wishes him good luck too. So everybody asks where you was. He proceeds to tell everybody, I just finished my quarantine because I was positive for COVID. So the doctor said I could come out. Oh, you could. So I inquired. I said, was there a secondary testing done? He said, he don't know because he doesn't know. The guy never say anything. But you see how irresponsible it was of this guy to come knowing that he just got off of isolation, right? Now, I would presume he got one secondary test. So now my friend said, what should I do? I said, brother, until you can call the DOH and get some clarification, I would isolate yourself, assuming that probably this guy could be asymptomatic, right? He could be a carrier, he could be a host carrier, and he could have infected you. And the last thing you want to do is going to infect other people. So just stay away from now. Monday, call the DOH if you can, find out right away. And if you need be, I told him, go make an appointment, because he's on Oahu. I said, go make an appointment with Dr. T. Go get tested. He said, yeah, sounds like a plan. But you see how irresponsible people can be? They think that it's funny, come over there, say goodbye. You know, you couldn't do it from a distance. And you're part of the hot zone, as we call it, right? You were in a hot zone. You were infected.
And we know from the people that we've had on the show, the medical people, that they do not test you after your quarantine. After you've tested positive, and you finish your quarantine period, you're free. And you know, that's something that we both question, Charlie. And why would you not test the person to make sure they're still not infectious? I did want to say, I know Angela is knocking on the door, but I did want to say, Charlie, we did secure a location for our testing. I did communicate with Dr. T today. We are looking at Wednesday, June 24th is going to be the day he will come down. It's in 2 weeks, Wednesday, June 24th. And the reservation system, it's going to be done by reservation. You're going to have to do an online reservation, or registration, I should say, on the Doctors of Waikiki website, which will be set up on Monday. So I would suggest those of you that are interested on Monday, go ahead and get to the Doctors of Waikiki website. Tomorrow, Charlie, we'll come on real quick. We'll do an announcement. Tomorrow, everything should be finalized, but it is going to happen on the 24th, Wednesday, here on Kauai.
We got something tomorrow being Sunday. We got something for Sunday tomorrow.
Yeah, I just want to make the announcement tomorrow.
You got it, brother.
But Monday, the website will be ready for it. Don't go there now because you're not going to be able to do anything now. But on Monday, the registrations will be taken, the appointments will be taken, and only online, because we cannot. There's no way he can accommodate, 500 people showing up as a walk-in. So we're gonna have to do it this way. If all goes well, we will definitely bring them back on another day. So, but more information to follow. But I just wanted to let all of you know. He will be doing antibody testing as well as the swab testing. So,
can we have everybody right now share? Right now, make a watch party, do whatever you can, but share this program right now, gang, because Mel will be ready to bring her into the Mel and Charlie Live.
She should be coming in any moment. There now. She is, Miss America. Uh-oh. Angela Keene is connecting to audio, it says. I'm sure many of you remember Angela Keene. Oh, we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Oh, whoa. Let's see here.
Senator Donna Mercado Kim.
Hey.
Senator Donna Mercado Kim came on one night, and the condition was that she don't turn on her video. I think she didn't have probably her makeup.
Oh.
We allowed. That's the only exception we've ever made. Anyway,
that woman is amazing. You know what she said when I went to testify with her committee? Give that woman a job. I was like, yes.
Yes. I mean, I watched that meeting. I was like, yeah. But I was just going to say, I think many of you recognize Angela Keene as she used to be a newscaster on TV years ago. And so
Years ago.
yeah, yeah. Well,
No,
many of us been
no,
around
no.
for years.
Let's get it straight. A year ago. A year ago. How's that? There you go.
13 years ago. 13.
Wow.
Can you believe it? 13 years. Unreal.
Wow. I'm Mel. That's Charlie, and you're Angela. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Angela. We hope you're feeling better. I know you ran into some issues the last time. Oh my gosh.
Well, I was sick.
I wasn't going to say anything, but then everybody else did. So,
everybody
hey,
knew.
good.
Everybody
Yeah.
knew. Everybody knew. I'm just looking off to the side because I'm going to try to broadcast over on my page and then our group page.
Yes. Share that.
Yeah, I've been pretty sick. I actually got sick March 6th, and I was sick for about 6 weeks, and they aren't sure whether I had COVID or not, but I had all the symptoms. So I'm going to do one of those antibody tests. So hopefully we'll find out. It'll be very interesting. Yeah.
Did you get the test though? Did you get the original?
So I was one of the first in Hawaii to get swabbed at the independent clinic, and the tech didn't know how to do it yet. So she just went inside my nose. She didn't go all the way up like you're supposed to. And when we got done, I was like, that didn't seem right, you know? And I called my doctor and she goes, no, they're supposed to go all the way up into the cavity. So
Yeah.
never mind. I got through it, whatever it was. So yeah.
Well, thank God. But yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I got sick. I got the food poisoning, but my doc said, when you're run down like that, you can get sick from anything afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. We know you've been working, burning a candle from both ends. We know that. So really, we wanted to really. Do you have your Facebook up? Do you have your Facebook page up?
I do. I do.
So
Wait. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure it's running. Hold on.
Leilani Kai Bruin is saying, "Aloha, Angela. You look amazing. I remember you as a newscaster on Hawaii News Now. I think it was. That's probably." But
yeah,
anyway,
I was on several stations. So I was on KGMB for 12 years. And after KGMB, I jumped ship and I went to KHNL and I did the morning show there. I was on and off the morning show many times over the years. A lot of times I did health and medical issues, and I loved personal causes and nonprofits. And so when this issue came up, I was still fairly sick with my, whatever it was, respiratory infection. And one of my Facebook friends who goes by Moly Moly, he doesn't like his name out there. He messaged me one night and he said, there's this business group that has relocated to Hawaii over COVID. They're from the East Coast and they want to escape. And it's all over their website and it's all over social media. They're hiding out in Hawaii. And he said, they're in Haleiwa. And so he started this group. And we were just a handful of us. And back then, seemed like back in the old days, people messaged them and called them and basically hounded them. And people got their address in Haleiwa at their vacation rental. They verbally chased them out. Back then, we didn't have everything together with the quarantine and stuff like that. But by the time those folks saw the wrath of the folks in Hawaii to say, don't come here when you're trying to ride out the storm. You guys might be sick and you're going to get everybody else sick. And that's so pilau. Put it on your Facebook page and your website. We're riding out the storm in Hawaii. And they got scared. They bought themselves tickets. They took photos of the tickets. They went back to the East Coast, and the guy made a YouTube video that said, hey, we're really sorry if we offended you. We're so sorry that we hurt you guys. We now understand what Hawaii is all about and what your people are all about. And everybody was like, woo. So from there, it just went off. The second big one that everybody knows about is Arona Lopez. And Arona is the most famous hated homeless woman in America who used to be a comedian. Does that sound about right?
That's it.
Yeah, so we got on that one, and that was because she has a massive anti-fan club. There's a few people from Hawaii that are in there. Lindsay Morales Ellis, Jazz, of all those people, you guys know who you are. They gave us heads up that she was here. And so we were on her about an hour after she landed. And she was already going live and talking about, oh, this and that, and I'm going to Walmart, and I'm getting a tent. And she was doing this dance. I'm in Hawaii, and we're just like, she's not wearing a mask. It was full on quarantine at that time. And so we just went at it. Moli Moli went out on the street. I was sick in bed. So all I did was, you know how it is when you investigate. Mel, I know how you know that stuff. I just did my deep dig into the internet and found out everything I could about her. And I was like, wow, this person is bad. So from there, we just took off, and the net went far and wide. And we ended up getting to find her in Waimanalo. That was not me. Danny Toe and Kukana Kamatoth and all these folks awesomely pulled together. And I was on the phone with the sheriff at the airport. And I said, I think we got her. And I knew that was the agency that we needed to connect with to get her. HPD was on the scene, thanks to Kukana. And HPD didn't know what to do with her. And I'm on the phone with the sheriff saying, they're going to let her go. They're giving her $100 ticket. That's it. Wait, aren't we on quarantine? And the sheriff was like yelling, no, this can't happen. And then I'm talking to Jessica Lonnie Rich at Bash, and she's like, no. And see, that's been an instrumental agency too. So between the sheriff's department and Bash and us, we've been working together since that day. And what we do is we connect the dots. So now HPD has a system with the sheriff's department. We have a system with the sheriff's department, which is we go straight to the top. Attorney General's office, #1 law enforcement officer in the state. And what we do is we put the files together from everything that everybody shares us, the things that I dig up, the things that the other members dig up. I put it in a nice file that's organized with names and dates and all kinds of things. And I shoot it off to the lead investigator, who shall remain anonymous. And we talk until sometimes I get emails from him at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Sometimes I send him at 2 or 4, and he answers me. Bug Guy answers me, and he's not a young guy. So, we kind of hammer-jang it all together, and we make it happen,
I watched that Senate hearing that you were at, and you were sitting right next to the police chief. Actually, the police chief was sitting next to you, and it was pretty obvious that based on your testimony, that the police officer didn't really know the policy, didn't know what to do, and the chief sitting right there, thinking, "Oh my God, not really looking good for HPD." But now, all this time has passed. I'm assuming that the law enforcement agencies on all the counties, on all the islands, are up to speed.
Yeah, correct? And it's troubling because every island is different. Kauai Island is different, Maui Island is different, Hawaii Island is different, Oahu is different. And that's what makes it so complicated. What I will say about HPD is they are amazing, but that's not their kuleana. They have so much going on. Even just the breakers, our local breakers at the beach during that time, they were giving out tickets left and right. They don't have time for all that. And it's the officer's discretion. So if they got something else going on, they can pass it by. They can give a warning, this and that. So now our connection is the AG's office. So when this most recent, the cult, there were several groups. We didn't know. There were several groups. So Big Island Thieves, TK, absolutely amazing. The work that they've done on crime on Hawaii Island, all of his resources, his connections with the police there. But when I contacted police and I got some other feelers from other people that said, I don't know if they really believe us or if they really know what's going on. And I said, okay, I'm just going to go with what I know. So I contacted my guy at AG's office and I gave him all the information. He said, hang on. And another 3 o'clock in the morning email. And he said, Chief Herrera on the Big Island is going to take action. And I was like, thank God. So here we are.
Well, I know on Kauai, the police department is very active. In fact, we're the only island, I believe, that has a checkpoint outside of the airport. So there's only one way out of the airport.
That is great. That
The
is so
problem,
great.
though, the problem is that it's the information that these guys are giving, and they're supposed to be verified or inside the airport.
Right.
Once
Right.
they get out of the airport, the department is the officers and the National Guard that's at the checkpoints is basically checking the addresses on their paper should have already been validated or verified by the people inside, not the police. So what's happening here is these guys are putting out the false addresses inside with the screening,
Yep.
and I'm sure it's happening on all the
It's happening
islands.
all the islands.
That is the concern that we've had, and we'll save off the
Yeah.
cult one for a little later because
Yeah. So
but
so this part is very interesting. The lying, and actually that's kind of what the Attorney General's office needs, and sometimes that's what they get them on. So I'll give you an example of one that we lost. There were two guys from Kazakhstan. That's near Russia, between Russia and China, and they were famous hockey players, and they were all hi maka maka, and like we somebody and stuff like that. And so they started boasting on their Instagram, and we were just in awe, like, wow, these guys are out here. They were staying at the Hawaiian Monarch, and we had everything. But once I gave the information to the AG investigator, he's like, they are not in that room. And I'm like, wait a second, that's a vacation rental. Okay, that's a vacation rental. They have a Turo car. He says, oh, Turo, what's that? And so I explained that to him. So I went back, did research on the Turo, gave him that information. Then I went through their video and took screenshots of the video with the clock on the wall, and I matched it to the VRBO that they rented, same clock. So I was like, okay, this is the room. Went back to the investigator. Investigator says, hey, you know what? We took a look at the information you gave us on the Turo vehicle. Bugas used the Turo vehicle as their address out in Waianae. They're staying in Waikiki. And then the security guard at Hawaiian Monarch said, you know what? They didn't park in the Mark stall for their unit. They parked in somebody else's stall, so we couldn't find them. These guys know. They have their own online groups. They all chat. They all vala'au, and they figure out how they're going to get here and how they're going to. And it's a game to some of them. It's a game. We never caught them.
This is the thing that I wanted to ask you tonight, because I've been following you folks intently, and I really appreciate it. And as you know, both Mel and I we're ex-cops. I'm from Maui.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to some of my friends who is with the AG's office, retirees.
Yes.
So we're all over there. But what seems strange about it is with the increase now that we see, well, today the numbers are down as far as arrivals. But for the most part, we're hitting these 1,000 a day spikes, right?
Yep.
Based on what you've been confronted with, is it safe to say, because if we were in La La Land, in 5 days, we had 5,000 visitors. We're assuming all 5,000 is quarantined. You and I both know that's not happening.
Nope.
So
Ain't
basically
happening.
what you're picking up now, basically what you're getting is probably less than a fifth of what may be there.
1%
so,
of that. Yeah.
So I think when this whole quarantine started, I don't know. Mel and I have been pressing the state, tell us, if they tell us the truth, I can live with it.
Yeah.
And the fact is, when you develop this program, was it based on the notion that you will have eyes, not from the agencies that enforce it, but others like a neighborhood watch that will kind of do the work for you?
Right.
We could never give an answer on that. So what I just said to you, Angela, what's your take on it? What's your take?
The dots are not connected. They never have been, just by the way it was executed, and it's all hamajang. And I think without groups like ours, without groups like TK's, without the Arona anti-fan group, without like 808 Viral and all those guys, we're all in the same canoe. You know, pupukahi I holomua, which means to unite and to move forward, to put those paddles in and paddle together. And a lot of times the left foot doesn't know what the right foot's doing. But without these kinds of groups, I don't think they can make it work. We've even talked about, can we volunteer for HTA? I mean, our group members are willing. We have members on every island. Many of them aren't working. And they are willing to be a troop that'll say, give me a list of names. I go by their house. I say, Auntie, you okay? Hey, you've been quarantining, you know, that kind of thing. We can do that.
This is what we've actually done. And I think Mel and I got kind of brushed on the side, but we talked to Donovan, we talked to Donna. We said, you know, when they brought up contact tracing, one of the most important skills you can have as a cop is learning how to investigate and read people, because that's what your life is based on.
News reporter.
Yeah.
News report.
There you go. So we said, why not hire retirees instead of catching them right out of school? But they wanted to go with these new students coming out. And last night, we were very fortunate to have Dr. Berman on with us from the
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
And I asked a job description, and I was kind of like shocked a little, because I thought that, you know, you need, number one, you need a bachelor's. And so they're stating all these requirements, but basically at the end it says, you know, you really have to be a people person. And I said, well, you don't need a bachelor's for that. You just got to know how the game is played.
Yeah.
And so that's why this kind of thing, for Mel and I, while the rest say, well, you know, the economy, we got to open up. I said, yeah, but if you're not careful, and the reason why my passion is, again, you know, you may or may not know, my brother died from COVID in New York City. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because he was one of the first that experienced the thickening of the blood. That's why he wasn't getting oxygen, and he died about 1 week after. So
oh my God. No, I'm so sorry.
When we team up and watch programs like yours, as well as all your other partners getting involved with this, it's good to know that you hooked up with the AG's office, because like for us here, Mel and I, sometimes we're asking, you know, who do we go to? But we know that the National Guard and the police have been doing a good job. But that's just Kauai. Now we got the Big Island, got Oahu. And with all these spikes coming up, it's going to be even worse now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For me, it's a couple of things. I need to share that I'm a wedding officiant, so I do weddings. And from my mentors, I do some Hawaiian touches, and it's really important for me to educate people on, you know, pikai and pa'akai and all the important things that go into what you respect when you're there, when you get married, that sort of thing. And I depend on some of those foreigners when I do those ceremonies. They're not all local. So that's my side gig, my, you know, bread and butter. We all have that. And I'm not against tourism. I'm against Pilau people who come here and disrespect the Aina and disrespect Kanaka Maoli and put us all at risk. And I'm very passionate about Kanaka Maoli. You know that they're Native people. I get emotional. They're Native people, and they are at the highest risk of COVID-19. Native people are at the highest risk. And I tell these people, even people asking me, when can I come? I said, you know, you like Hawaii, you like Hawaiian people. Yeah. And I said, no Hawaiians, no Hawaii, right? That's really for me what it's all about. And if we can straighten this out, then we have better people coming here who respect us, who love us, who want to spend their money with us, and be pono.
Yes, good.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, most of us share that same position. I think, you know, Charlie and I offered the state, you know, we volunteer our time to put together the strategic plan for the airports. You know, it's been 3 months already. Why are we allowing people to leave that airport without a confirmed quarantine facility? Why is that?
That's a big one. So the work that we did with Donovan, you know, Donna Mercado Kim, the Senate COVID committee, they're coming out next week with a new form, and that form is going to be revised. It's going to have some teeth in it, hopefully, and that form is going to stick around beyond quarantine, because we now realize that pandemics are going to be part of the future, and we want this type of security to be there. I believe Claire Connors, AG, had mentioned that they are using the ankle bracelets when, excuse me, when they've made a warning. They cannot do it when they're coming into the airport, but for civil rights. But they can do it if they've received a warning or gotten into trouble. Why don't we have a hotel that we can put them in? That's a very good question. There have been some rumblings of civil rights once again as well, and where they spend their money and that sort of thing.
Well, I'm not even talking about a quarantine hotel. I'm talking about, I used the wrong word. I said facility.
Okay, facility.
They're quarantine, their accommodations. See, these guys they're lying. The bottom line is they're lying.
Right.
And we're not catching the liars. So the people that follow the rules, they get basically punished. They're gonna be checked. They're gonna be checked often. Especially here on Hawaii, they get checked quite a bit at the locations that they said they were gonna quarantine. But the ones that don't give a damn and are lying. But I know the Attorney General made those comments. I heard her numerous occasions about quarantine facilities. You cannot do anything with these people because of the civil rights. But they're gonna require every single inner island passenger to do a thermal scan.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a choice, or you don't get on the plane. If you have a fever, you don't get on the plane. I hope I'm making myself clear.
Yeah.
The civil rights is not something that you pick and choose. You either have it or you don't. And if I have the civil rights, if I have the civil right to not be forced to wear a bracelet, or not be forced to go to a quarantine facility, but it's okay for you to violate my civil rights for the inner island people. In other words, local residents that want to go visit family on the other islands, you got to subject yourself to a thermal scan. Now, some people think, it's just a thermal scan, Mel. Well, it's still they're checking a medical condition of yourself, which is your right. And my point is this: some of them, sometimes the Attorney General will allude to civil rights, but for the inter island quarantine, no need. Sorry, if you like fly, you take the test, take the thermal screen.
Wow.
And I think that's where I'm questioning. Wow, we're in an emergency. We're in a national emergency. We're in a state emergency. And you're gonna knowing that your system is flawed, your system at the airport is flawed. It is. I mean, they admit themselves. My point is this: you come off that plane, Angela. You tell me you're staying at ABC Street. And you call the number. You remember at that committee meeting, the TA or HTA guy or whatever said they were only checking the cell phones. They were just making sure that
people leave their cell phones in their room.
Yes.
Or they have one person stay in the room and the other one goes out and enjoys the beach. I have plenty of reports of that.
Pathetic. You see, again, we're not dealing with this virus is bad. One person can contaminate quite a few people. My point is this: if you cannot provide an address then someone needs to go and physically follow you to the home or to your rental, your hotel or whatever. I'm sorry that if you want to take this seriously,
they do. Yeah.
Then that's what we have to do, and that's where your volunteers come in. We got a lot of people not working.
Yeah.
Hey,
they want to be busy. They want to make a difference. They want to.
Hey, we'll pay you $12 an hour, $15 an hour. All you got to do is follow this person to the hotel.
You kidding me? They'll do it. They'll do it for free.
But again, the state isn't interested in going down that road. They think the forms are going to be sufficient. They think that, and it's not. These people, like you say, they got the underground network.
Yeah.
They got the tricks.
So things that people don't quite understand when they're just joining our group is we are very underground, because we learned early on with Arana and other folks that if we chatter too much about it, somebody in there is going to share the info. So we now have all posts are approved. You cannot post until it's approved because we don't want to let out information. We also don't allow people to post clips or screenshots with names and social media handles. Cannot do that because what happens is, here, let me give you an example. The Azerbaijani guy that was here for 2 weeks that we chased. that dude, he was all over the island. And one of our members was so passionate, bless her heart. She was so upset. She messaged him and say, "Hey, bro, if you care about us, go home already." We lost him. So she meant well. And what happened was he goes, "Oh yeah, I already got a $360 ticket." No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He shut down his account, and we still managed to catch him. We caught him at the airport, and the AG investigator interrogated him. He said, "I interrogated him, Angela. I got him. I got him to admit that he did it." And his wife had $4,000 wired to Honolulu. He paid the $4,000 in full, got on a plane, and didn't look back. And I'm just glad that the $4,000 goes into the state coffers, because that was a nice, expensive trip for him.
You know, yeah, another thing that is bothering us now, because you spoke of it earlier, because each county is different. When we see things happening like Big Island, Oahu, the fines are really high. I mean, it's publicized.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, here on Kauai, you know, we have $100 fine, put them on the plane, tell them to go back. When we look at stuff like that, again, we're trying to prevent the spread of this virus. It's not so much playing chase master with chasing these guys around. Yet, I brought this up for some of the Maui cases. You hunt the person down, you expend all this energy, you use all these resources, you arrest a person, but you don't know if the person left the virus behind. You're telling them, get off the island. Why don't you guys even want to try test the person just to see, make sure? Yeah. Because if they positive, now you're hiring all these contact tracers. Now go start using their skills and go find out where the hell that person's been. Because if not, if anybody wants to ruin our economy, send infected people here and tell them leave. They just go deposit and get out. That's what they're going to do. And that's what my biggest fear is.
Yeah, and I noticed that. I believe with Arana, they may have given her a swab and she tested negative. But I don't know if the police departments have the resources for the testing. And my question is there a resource that we can get them so they could do the testing? You know, rapid test, anything. Or if the person says, I already had it. Well, then you arresting them and they already had it, then can we just do a quick antibody test and get it back in a few days and say, okay, let them go, right? Then they're okay.
Right.
That's going to be a big part of it.
That's the scary part, because I mean, not, you know, up until recently, you know, the results were 7 days, 10 days to get your results from the test. And I think what Charlie's talking about, the bail, Kauai's $100 bail.
Okay,
so they post their $100 bill, and you know, the rest of the state is $2,000, and and realizing it's a chief's call, the chief sets the bill of each county. But you know, if they post that bill and they get on a plane and they go back, they'll forfeit their bill.
Yeah.
You know,
so they will. Do you want to talk about that? I can tell you. I can talk a little bit about it. It's very different than any other case.
Go ahead,
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this whole thing with the fines is unique. When and I understand Maui County, and I think what it may take is maybe a meeting between Claire Connors and the city county prosecutor, and she can advise them. That's what she did with Oahu, because our first publicized event with Arona was the $100 ticket, right? They didn't know what to do. And then after that happened, it went up, and now it's 2,000 to 4,000. So she really advises them. She can advise them on what needs to be done. I've heard some rumors that there are some prosecutors, they shall remain nameless, that don't feel up to doing that kind of, fine. Why, I don't know, or whether they're going to prosecute him. So let's say, Mel, you get caught in Honolulu. The AG's investigators pick you up. They found you all over Oahu, and you broke quarantine, and they racked up all the information that they got from Hawaii Quarantine Kapu Breakers, and it looks like you're going to have a $4,000 fine. So they're going to take you to the holding cell at HPD, or they're going to interrogate you and get you to admit that they have all the evidence and they've got it right there laid out. So then at that point, you have several decisions, okay? You can contact your family and ask them to wire you $4,000 or bring $4,000 in cash and bail you out. $4,000, it's not 10%, it's $4,000 for that crime. So you get that cash, you get out, and you never look back, and you get on the plane and you go back to wherever, okay? Or you come in and you're like Arona, and you only have your backpack and you don't have any money and you don't know how you're going to get out. You will see the judge the next morning, and the judge will say to you, either you can get on a plane, we'll get you a ticket, you get on a plane and you go home and we'll wipe your slate clean, or if you want to stay, we will charge you a fee for breaking the law every day that you are here. And for her, it was $2,000 a day every day that she's here. She couldn't afford that. She's homeless. In comes Visitor Aloha Society. Shout out to Jessica Lonnie Rich and her team, good friends, and have worked with us and helped us a lot, and we've helped them. So Jessica comes in and she gets flights donated through the TAT, the hotel room tax. And so the state folks aren't paying for it. It's coming from visitor hotel rooms. So Jessica goes in there and says, I got a free ticket for you. Would you like to go home? And the person says, well, that or face a fine every day. So Arona said, I'll go home. I'll take the money, right? So get her on the plane and send her home. The other option is, and this was Kimberly Hune and Edward Tune, I think were their names, the ones from Vegas. They decided they wanted to fight it. So they got out of jail. They have a court date. They paid a portion of their fine. And then they have the option to either show up in court for their court date and fight it via video from Las Vegas, or they fly into Honolulu and they see the judge and they fight it that way. And they'll walk out without paying any money or with paying the whole fine. And that's basically how it works. The three different ways that you can do it. But there is no, when people see that $4,000 or $2,000 and they say, oh, $4,000, like the cult guy, right? $4,000, that means he only has to pay $400 to get out, or $40. No, he has to pay the $4,000.
And that's only the bail. And that's only the bail. The fine is after they adjudicate the case. So in a case where the judges are letting them go back on a plane, then he's basically dismissing the charge, and they don't have to come back to answer to the charge.
Correct.
I go back to what Charlie asked earlier. We don't know if these people even infected anyone. They could have, because we don't know their condition. And I think that's the scary part. Once you let them go, you know, how are you going to trace them? How are you going to do the contact tracing once they're out of here? So I think, the bigger package when the state needs to look at all of these options. And again, the goal in this is, I mean, I see obviously to punish the violators, but the ultimate objective here is to keep our people safe. That should be the primary objective, not finding these people, punishing them and sending them back home because they may have left the trail of COVID. And I mean, that is my fear and my concern, is that you cannot contact trace someone if they're not here, and you cannot contact trace someone if you don't know if they're even positive or negative.
Right.
And so
that's very true. The other thing is I think we talked about that in the Senate committee meeting, and it's come up a few times. I told them, you've got to test before they even get on the plane, because you get one positive person on a plane and you know that air circulates, and they can tell you all kinds of things, but people touch stuff on planes. It's impossible not to, because you're in this small little space, right? One person can get on a plane with COVID. You land and you've got 200 or 300 people with it, right? That have all been exposed. And there we go,
We call them patient 31. That's the patient 31, the South Korean patient that infected a lot of people. So All right. Talk about the cult. Oh, Charlie, you got a question before we hit the cult? Because everybody's on waiting to hear about this cult, guys. Freaking us out.
What?
I have a question for Angela.
Okay.
Angela, talk about the cult. Talk about the cult.
Okay. So before I get into that, I really want to make it clear again. There were lots of people. It wasn't just us. We are known. We have some pull with some agencies, with lawmakers, and first of all, the Attorney General's office. So, Big Island Thieves and Danny Toe and 808 Viral and all the folks, the Arona Anti-Fan Club and the what is it, Cup of Tea, these folks that are anti-fans of the cult, all of them have band together, everybody's sharing information. That whole situation is so interesting, but it's also disturbing. I remember, I don't know how long ago, I was reading an article about this cult that doesn't like to bathe. And I was like, this is bizarre. They called them a sex cult that doesn't like to bathe. It wasn't until today that I started looking through videos and looking at old news articles that I realized that that's the guys, that's them. So this man, he's a narcissist. Narcissists make perfect cult leaders. He thinks he's God. He thinks he passes on his wisdom, and I can't even say it's his sperm. That's how he thinks he passes on his wisdom and his knowledge. Sorry, I'm a good girl. I don't say
listen. This show, there is no limits to this show. You can say.
Hey, you know what? My mom is probably watching. I'm gonna get scoldings, and I'm gonna get them in German. My mom is German, and that's even worse. You.
Hey, Mom, why don't you turn it off for a little while, Mom? Turn it off for a little while.
Anyway, he has multiple wives. He's in this sort of weird realm where you got to be on his plane and his level, and that it comes through him. They don't believe in using sewer, so they don't use the John. They don't use the bathroom. They use the grass and the ground and the trees to do their kukai and everything else. Their poo, and it's just so bizarre. But what's more disturbing is people have had eyes on them all over the place. They were kicked out of Nicaragua. They were kicked out of Costa Rica. They were kicked out of Panama he's in trouble for sexual things. I've watched his videos. He's talking about sexual things with his kids, his own kids, which is mind-blowing and sick, and so the week before they came, there was this chatter within the Arona group, and I'm like, who the heck are you guys talking about? Nature Boy. I'm like, who? And then so I started digging, like, oh my gosh. So those folks really got us in the know with what was going on. And then I started digging and started getting tips. And then we found out about 11:30 or so, about an hour and a half after they landed. And we started getting tips, and it just went from there. And then I realized, oh yeah, Big Island, PD does things differently. So how am I going to do this? And I did call. I probably got dispatched, and they didn't seem too excited. I talked to a couple of other people and said, yeah, they tried to call HPD, Hawaii PD, and they were like, I don't know if they're going to do anything. So I said, okay, let me go to the person that I know that's going to make it happen, or at least if I think is going to happen. So went to the AG investigator, my best buddy, and I said, I got this for you. And first it was, I'm really busy and I'm doing this and this. And then the next day he goes, okay, I'm going to get to this. And so we talked, and he said he gave it to Chief Ferreira, and he guaranteed me, he said, it's going to be taken care of. And just shortly after that, in the morning, my phone was blowing up, and I was like, check the live. He's there. He's getting arrested. I was like, oh, praise God. It actually happened. And
where was the break? Where? So they land, and I understand there were more than one group in this cult. There were several flights, but where? How did he get caught? I thought I read or saw on the news that they were out looking at turtles or playing with turtles?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
How did you guys
Okay.
the
So
witnesses?
he's a narcissist. He likes to put everything on live, on his live broadcast, on his YouTube, on his Instagram. He's not on Facebook. We were getting some tips, some sightings of people around saying, I saw this, group of people and they were swimming, and it didn't look like local people, and I don't think they were quarantining. And so we thought, okay, that might be them. And then we got other tips. So we found out their address, and they were staying at a vacation rental. And I thought, if I have the vacation rental, then we can get them. And that's usually what we do here too. It's a lot of names and addresses. And at least HPD could confirm whether they were staying there or not, right? That's it. So we then actually saw video that they were taking. They were taking their own video. He's videotaping, and all his wives are out there, and the guys that follow them, and the Hono is there, and they're touching the turtle, they're petting. He's like, no, no, no. There were some locals off in the distance, and they said, hey, not supposed to touch the turtles. And so he was actually saying, don't touch the turtles, and then he's touching them. He's touching them himself. So that went to DLNR. One of our group members reported it to DLNR. And then it also went to HPD. And there is a couple of members who live on Hawaii Island who are part of the cult. I believe in Panama, but I'm not quite sure about that. So don't quote me on that. But they were the ones that were the bridge for them to get here. And, talking to other members, other people in other groups, I'm finding out that there's a few peppered throughout the state. There's some on Kauai as well. So, yeah.
Well, I think you said something that was very interesting, and that is they got kicked out of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for our viewers, because they don't have constitutions like us.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, why not just kick him out of Hawaii? No, he's going to revert back to his constitutional rights. And in this case, it's a disadvantage for how we feel because, nobody, this. Well, put it this way, you can always find an avenue that you can take. One can be due to health reasons. It's kind of bad. It's kind of bad.
Yeah.
So, Mel did pose the question, how do you find them? If you couldn't see them physically, just follow the trail of the smell, then you'd find them that way.
That is true. They don't bathe. They don't bathe. They really don't.
So, I think what's in a way stunning as well as angers local people is that, and as you've been here, for many years, and you call this home, we call this home. We're an island state. We're in the middle of nowhere, and we do the best we can.
Yeah.
And when you get somebody like this coming over here and trying to destroy that is when I hate to say this, but that's when people get up in arms already. Enough is enough.
Yep.
Enough.
And I want to say, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if you watch some of his videos, pre-Hawaii and post-Hawaii, he's not a very likable guy. This guy is a sicko and obviously using people, a lot of people, kids, and it's gonna irritate a lot of people. And it's sad that he has chosen the Big Island to lay his foundation for his
or
cult.
Hawaii
or problems.
Yeah, or Hawaii in general. Let me tell you this, it's really bizarre. And I know local people don't like this, especially Kanaka Maoli. He said, I have the clip. He said, you guys, you think you brown people, you Hawaiians, you were black. He said, you were black before, huh? He thinks, his theory is Kanaka Maoli are black people who mixed with the Japanese who came here. WTF. WTF.
Hey, your mom's watching.
Whoops. Wait, you know what? She doesn't know what that means. She doesn't know
does.
what that means. No.
She was on our show last night. She does. No, yeah, he said, yeah. So you guys all tell me go back to where I came from. Well, I came from here. You know, that's what he said. I'm thinking, what a.
So
Is he a U.S. citizen? Is he a
he
U.S.?
is he's originally from New Jersey. They last came from Atlanta, but I got to share something from Kauai. So I touched base with somebody I really respect today. His name is Kato. You know Kato? Do you know who he is?
Kato
Uh,
who?
Uh, Kato Strom, Kato Kalani Strom,
is he from North Shore?
Kauai.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Brother is
Strom.
good. Yes, 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 yes. He made the most amazing video today, and he called the cult leader out, and he wanted to make sure that he knew that his boys are watching. And Kato, we all think that he's amazing. We had a discussion in our group, and there were members that said we will raise money for their flights to go to the Big Island. That's all I'm saying. This is how passionate people are about the situation, and I think it really hits home how protective we are of our home. You know.
Well, we are the most open culture
Yeah.
in the world. I mean, Hawaii.
Yeah.
But this is not the kind of people we want here. And I'm not talking
Exactly.
about color. I'm not talking about color or
No,
any of that.
right. Pilau
When
kind
you start
people.
the
Yeah.
pilau. Hey,
Yeah.
Kirk, you watch that? You got that, Kirk? The new shirt. We got to get a new shirt, a pilau shirt. Go pilau,
And
something like that. But anyway,
this cult is pilau, literally. Yeah.
well, it is, and it's
Hauna,
they
Hauna, Hauna.
How? Yeah.
Hauna,
Hona is right. Yeah. Hona.
whatever. It's just man, it's just, but it's scary, and a lot of people are not comfortable with this, and they fear
Yeah.
these types of cults coming over here, and we are talking earlier, Charlie and I, that I'm hoping that the government, and because these guys have been kicked out of countries, outside of here, that the feds would get involved and figure out what is their plan. Why are they coming here? It's obvious to grow their cult, and
Yeah.
we cannot kick him out. We cannot send him back. That's the
Right.
problem. He's here if he wants to be here, and we just got to make it very uncomfortable for him.
Oh, they
So he
will.
wants to go back. Yeah,
They
I
will.
know.
So what's next is the court cases, and they've decided to fight it. So there's going to be a jury trial. That's going to be hard because Hawaii Island is, everybody knows everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to look at another island to do the court case. I don't know. He's going to create all kinds of pilikia. He's going to try to create any problems that he can to make all eyes on him like he always does. But one of the issues is going to be who's going to rent to them, knowing all of the problems. And we're not talking about color again, because we are a rainbow of colors here, but it's the problems that they create. They don't use sewage. They poop and pee in the lawn. They go into they're going into sacred places that they shouldn't be going into. That's heva. We all know that. And you don't go into ponds and go after honu and say, oh, don't touch them. Yeah, don't be 30 feet away or 50 feet away for that matter. I don't
Well,
know who's going to welcome them in a rental.
my guess is that they're gonna use this as their largest fundraising campaign that cult has ever done. They're gonna utilize social media. I heard them begging for donations
Oh
while he was
yeah, that's the
getting.
first thing. That's the first thing he said.
But I think that's what he'll do. I think he'll do that and try to raise money that way, and possibly purchase land. He doesn't need structures. These guys
They live
they'll
in
be fine on
tents.
a piece
Yeah.
of land up in Puna or far away from everybody, and sleep on the lava. He don't give a damn. He doesn't need a toilet. He doesn't need a shower. But that's what these people do. They're not normal, and
Angela, let
Yeah.
me ask you this.
Sure.
We were just Mel and I was just talking before you came on, that when this is all said and done and all the
Mhm.
we did as much as we could, what is the future for Hawaiian quarantine cup?
Quarantine Kapu. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to tell you, I'm a social media person, but I'm a social media person to connect with people. I mean, it's not for, I don't do the likes and shares and that stuff because when I was doing news, we didn't have social media and there was no likes and shares, right? There was nothing like that. So I don't quite understand that. If we do, we may dissolve, we may blend it, merge with somebody else, or maybe we find another cause. So one of the things that we're working on now is illegal vacation rentals because they are part of, I would say 95 to 98% of the problem because all the people that we've caught have been in illegal vacation rentals. So we've had meetings with DPP, we're having, meetings here and there with various agencies to see how we can help them. So it's if we move forward, I would say it would have to be something that's going to make a difference. And it's going to be one cause because we're a one cause thing now. We're not like Stolen Stuff Hawaii or Big Island Thieves. We don't do all the kinds. I don't want to get into all that stuff. It should just be one mission, one cause, one thing that we can do that's good. And what that is right now, I don't know yet. So we'll see.
I think the vacation rental one would be, it would be very easy. Number one, very simple. The problem is getting the counties to enforce. I think that's the problem we have here.
And it's not just the counties to enforce. Again, another issue where the state and the city and county aren't talking. So for Oahu, it is the DPP cannot connect with some of the state agencies that they need to connect with, like the TAT office. They don't communicate and they need each other. So if we can be an intermediary to help them make that happen, I don't see why not that, why that couldn't happen on all the islands. So these agencies in the state just do not gel well, and they should, because if they do, it's going to make it seamless.
Well, we saw that, with we had Ken Hara on one night, and I couldn't help but ask him. It was sort of like playing in a sandbox, but the Department of Health didn't want to play in the same sandbox as you, so you had to go to the governor to ask him, hey, have them, because he's running the point on this, and we saw this early on, and I think Mel brought it up so many times, which is was sounding the alarm, and that is, what do we as citizens of Hawaii take when we have the messaging that it's basically all wrong? Or you give us a message and something doesn't pan out, especially when you talk about numbers, infection rate.
Yep.
When you give us these numbers and then next thing you know, or death rates, and then you recanting the numbers because of this or because of that, it gets so. Why we get frustrated is because the people get frustrated, and then nobody wants to follow the rules because it says, hogwash already.
Well, and it's all kapakahi. Everything's just so mixed up to the point where it's ridiculous. Right. Like, can't those Hawaii people get it together? That's what some people say to me. Or the Hawaii people that move to the mainland, they'll message or come into our group and say, what's the state doing? I don't know. We're just going to help out where we can and help make a difference,
Yeah, and I think that's, getting everybody on the same page, defining everybody's role and having someone accountable at each step. I think that's what's lacking. You cannot get a straight answer. We've had them all on, except the governor. We hope to have him on next week. But we've had pretty much everyone at all the levels, the House side, Senate side, Congress. We've had them all. We've had the lieutenant governor on several times. But there's no accountability and there's no communication, definitely no communication across the county state lines. I can tell you right now, as far as TVRs, the state is collecting TAT taxes on illegal TVRs. So they're generating revenue from illegal operations, and that's a big problem because they're not willing to give up that TAT.
Right.
They say it's a county's problem. You counties, you got to go enforce it.
And then the DPP, Department of Permitting, right? They want to go after, but that's why they can't connect with TAT, because TAT, as you said, doesn't want to give it up. They've got a ho'oponopono. It's got to work out. The other idea that I had was, why not get the National Guard to do some of these follow-ups and help out with some of the volunteer work? And Claire said, no can. She said, no can, because that is a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. So they can't help out with things like that. But can regular citizens? I would hope so. And I know that I have volunteers that are willing to help on every island.
Yeah, I mean, we would get the volunteers. I mean, that would, like for here anyway, TVR is out of control. And I'm sure it's the same way on Oahu. And, they hide behind the fact that they've been paying GE tax and TAT tax all these years, even though they're illegal. A lot of them don't pay, but some of them do. They go, when they go get their tax paper, they get their TAT tax paper, and they pay the tax. And the state collects them, even if it's illegal. And I remember when I was on a council, I used the analogy. What if I had a brothel? What if I had prostitutes? Yeah, but you think about this, right? It's illegal, just like the TVR. But I go get my general excise tax, and I just put on the service, or the what I'm selling is professional services, which is what it is.
Oh.
So now, if you use, it's the same analogy, right? Okay, the activity is different. One is an illegal vacation rental. One is money for sex, or sex for money. But as long as I pay my taxes, that means you counties cannot touch me. I disagree. And that's just kind of how it's been. And my thing is, let's go to court and find out. But we're allowing so many illegal TVRs. So many communities here on Kauai has been really destroyed because of TVRs in residential areas. So
yeah, we're working on it.
Right.
That's one of the things that we're working on right now. I have a couple of members that are anonymous, and I call them the Hawaii Quarantine Kapu Breakers Angels. And there's some amazing ladies, and they're executives, and they have the skills and the background in certain industries that can drill in and get into these issues with TVRs and all different kinds of things. So without them, I can investigate. I can't do the TVR stuff, but I can get them to the right people that they need to be in front of to have those meetings and to make it happen. Sorry, my dog's barking.
No, that's
but yeah, I mean, it's just infuriating. This is not what Hawaii is all about. Scooter, you want to come here? You want to say hi? Come here. Oh, he's not. Come here. Oh yeah, yes. There we go.
Oh, look at that. What's the name?
Scooter. It's Scooter. Scooter. Hey. Okay, go. Oh, anyway, yeah. So it's the right people and the right team, and putting all these people together and cooperating and making things happen. And that's the way we do things in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, that hour went by quick. I know a lot
Holy
of people.
cow, is it already? So if there's questions in there, what I'll go back into your once it posts, and I will try to answer questions if there's questions in there.
Well, we've kind of popped the questions. There's a lot of comments. There's a lot of agreement. There's a bunch of people on. So how can people help? I know you gotta take a test. You gotta take a test to go in that group now.
What?
Yes, you gotta answer the questions now. I got on early, so I went right in.
We knew who you were. Mole, shout out to him, because he's the guy who started it all, and that's his thing that he did. Really join the group, but we have people that aren't on Facebook, and so we have an email. It's quarantinebreakers@gmail.com. And our angels have the similar emails. It's Quarantine Breakers 1 and Quarantine Breakers 2. So all you got to do is send it to quarantinebreakers@gmail.com. And what I do is I pull in my angels and we work on these cases. People send us screenshots. They send us photos. They send us all kinds of things. Yesterday, I had something I sent off to the AG's office. All I had was an arrival date and an address. He got me the 4 guys' names, and we were able to confirm that they were exempt. So that happened within an hour. And I was able to tell the witness, the person that gave us the information, you're good, you're safe. These guys are good. They're doing something good. They're exempt. So yeah, just send us the information. DM me on Facebook. I'll go through my 120 messages and we'll get it done eventually.
Charlie and I can, if we feel your pain. I mean,
I don't know how you guys do it, man.
The good thing about this tonight, Charlie,
Yeah.
is now we can send all of that stuff to quarantinebreakers@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So you'll have 400 tomorrow. You'll have 400 tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. You know, we went the night that Arona happened, we went from just a handful of people in the group to about 300 or 400, and then it just blew up. And now we have 3,400 something, somewhere around there. It blows my mind.
You're gonna have a bunch more tomorrow. Thank
you.
Yeah, right now we're at the 365 comments so far right now. So it's coming in. It's coming in.
I'm seeing a couple messages. So for all you guys saying hello, we just so appreciate all the support, all the messages, all of the tips, all the extra groups that help out to make it happen. We don't do this alone. It's not me. I just am able to speak and get my voice out there. You know, I lost my job last week due to finance cuts. So I'm going to have a little bit more time to spend time on this. So I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, things happen for a reason. So God put that in my path. That's what I'm going to work on. So it's meant to be.
Well, we thank you, Angela, for sharing your time with us. And
thank you guys. Thanks for the support.
Hope things work out. I mean, I'm sure it won't be long before you're back to work someplace. My God.
Donna Mercado Kim. I just got to call her. Ask
you know,
for a recommendation.
We have had her on the show, I think twice, maybe 3 times. In fact, we're about due to get her back on because she's hilarious, man. She's so real.
You may want to talk to, you may also want to talk to Donovan Dela Cruz. Senator Dela Cruz has been instrumental in getting us what we need. And I'm very appreciative.
We've had Donovan on. In fact, Donovan was on last week, but we've had him on. He has the record, I think. But one night we had Senator Dela Cruz, we had Senator Mercado Kim, and Senator Kurt Favela.
Woo!
That was fun. That was fun. So somebody's telling you to run for mayor, Angela.
Politicians are hated. I'm a peacemaker. I don't like that. So the answer is no. But if there's a good cause that you want me to get behind, I will do that. Yeah.
Well, we'll keep you know, things will be changing as this thing evolves. So
it will.
I hope you come back and join us again
I will.
soon. I hope you had a good time. I mean, we did.
I did. It was so much fun.
It was. Charlie, any comments for Angela and her efforts?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to extend my greatest aloha to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Angela. And to the viewers out there who joined in, thank you for all of your comments. Most of you know me as Mr. Safety Tips Guy. I just want to give this shout out. If you are going to help with the cause, just be safe. Do not confront anybody.
Yeah.
Turn in the information. Don't try to be a hero because you're not a law enforcement officer. If things go sideways on you, it can get really bad really quickly. So just got to use common sense, and that's the safety tip. But most of all, thank you again, Angela, for coming on and sharing everything that you've been involved with. That kind of puts everything into perspective, especially with this cult group, and kind of give people that awareness that if because of COVID, yes, we do have this virus amongst us, but then we do have other problems amongst us too, and we gotta kind of keep our head on a swivel, looking at all times, just to be aware of it. So thank you.
Mahalo palana ole. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. Again, appreciate, and we'll get you back on as soon as can, and we'll follow the what's going on throughout the state as far as these quarantine breakers. We need to catch them, guys, on Kauai, and I think it works for the rest of the state. You get that Crime Stoppers app you can download. It's called P3 Tips on your phone. You can download the app. it lets you take a picture, and you can do it's anonymous, and you can do it that way as well. And but again, always let us know, let Angela know, and we will definitely. Charlie, they're asking for music, Charlie. We haven't done the music in a while, Charlie.
Hey, DJ.
No, we do a thing. Maybe I guess we could do it. I guess we could do it.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in so long. You know, we real quick, Angela. We started this
Okay.
about 3 months ago, and the whole purpose of this show was to tell people to flatten the curve. It's the beginning of the
Yeah.
COVID. You know, we before the big spike, and no one listened. You know, we tried. We had guests on, and then we went to see the chief of police, and we told the chief, deputize the two of us. We'll go be your COVID
Yeah.
cops, and we'll go catch these guys. And if we catch them, then the punishment would be they got to stay with us, with Charlie and me, for 24 hours straight. That didn't work. So Charlie wrote a song. Charlie wrote this song, and we usually sing this every night as our closing song. He spent a lot of time writing this song, and so why are you laughing, Charlie?
Because it.
So the bottom line is this: we told people that if you cannot flatten the damn curve, then we will flatten your ears. Take it away, Charles.
Aloha, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Thank you,
Aloha.
Angela. We will see you guys Monday night. Tomorrow night, no more. Monday night, we'll see you guys. We'll have Councilmember Mason Chalk. Tuesday night, we'll have the mayor of Kauai, along with Economic Development Director Nalani Brune. So please join us. Don't forget, Wednesday the 24th, testing coming to Kauai, Dr. T. And you'll hear more about that tomorrow. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Angela. You guys stay safe.
Safe.
Love you guys. Aloha.